Right, a very good morning to everyone once again. Today is Sunday, 11th of February 2018, and this is the last lesson of the lunar year. So today we'll be doing two suttas if time permits, that is chapter 9 and 10. There are two short suttas, reflections on faith and loving and stream winning. Okay, SD 45.9 Panchangika Saddha Sutta. Notice the word Saddha has a short ending vowel, a short terminal vowel, not Saddha. Saddha is faith, Saddha is a noun, where Saddha, short R ending, is an adjective meaning one who is faithful, one full of faith. Panchangika, Pancha plus Angika. Of course, you like to break up Angika, you can say Anga plus Nika. So it makes it an adjective. So Pancha means five, Anga means factors, limbs like those of the Eightfold Path. Right, Eightfold Path is called Attangika. Attangika Magga, same word. Attangika means eightfold. Eightfold or eight limb. Okay? Eight factors. So this is a five-factor faithful, the one who is faithful in five ways, if you like. So the five-factor discourse on the faithful. A 5.38. So the theme is the five benefits of faith, or the five benefits of one who is faithful. Okay? I think you need a red pen here. I think it's better to, the theme is the five benefits of the faithful, okay? Because that reflects the title a bit more. Sometimes we might be told, in Buddhism faith is not very important. That's not true at all. In fact, the reverse is true. Faith is very important. In fact, in all religions, faith is a key factor. Buddhism is entering into this new environment, a kind of new times, if you like. It's a very global religion. The most amazing thing about Buddhism is the growth is often natural. People find something interesting in this teaching, they are attracted to it. And there's always this effort in self-study. And then later, of course, the missionaries will come, the teachers will come. So we always have this attraction to the teaching, which is very natural, which is a very wonderful quality of Buddhism. In other words, if you have a situation of total freedom of religion and total availability of education, and people are intelligent, people are free to think, and they are wise to think, and to change, to choose and to change, then I'm quite confident they will somehow be very attracted to early Buddhism. I'm very biased to early Buddhism because it's very simple and it's also the roots of every other form of Buddhism. I mean, you can choose any kind of Buddhism you want to practice, and sometimes we have no choice. We are born into it, or we are married into it. You have to follow that kind of tradition. But whatever tradition you follow, the roots must always be there. It must be rooted in early Buddhism, because without early Buddhism, you have this empty core. So we should not judge Buddhism by the standards by other religions. We should take Buddhism as it is, especially early Buddhism. In fact, you'll be surprised that there is so much of Buddhism in other religions. You'll find today many religions are adjusting themselves to meet the demands, the challenges of this new global society. Every religion now knows, every sensible religion, I must say, knows the value of a peaceful mind, of a calm heart. So meditation is a very important aspect of religion, of faith, if you like. Because ultimately, if you talk about religion, what are you talking about? You're talking about two things. First is religion, the other is spirituality. And very often, thinking people like to make this difference. They say they're not religious, but they're spiritual. Very often they like to say that for the simple reason they dislike being embroiled in worldliness and religious politics and violence and so on. Someone said something very interesting. I mean, this saying is so well known, we can't remember who was the first person to say it. He said something like, religion is something based on the experience of others. Okay, whereas spirituality is rooted, is based on your own experience. Spirituality is you yourself experience this teaching, this reality. And I think that's a very helpful definition, the difference between religion and spirituality. So how does that apply to Buddhism? We have Buddhism as a religion, Buddhism as spirituality. Buddhism as a religion, of course, you have the ethnic aspects, the racial aspects, the even scholarly aspect, if you like, traditional aspects, where people do things as a group. And I think this is good. You know, the cultural aspects where people get together, you see them very happy during Vesak Day, or certain rituals of the family, of the individual, weddings, birthdays. So in many ways, this enriches a culture. But strictly speaking, it's not Buddhist spirituality. It's a social thing, if you like. So when we talk about religion, it's more of a social thing. It's like a social cement, and it can be explained in many ways by sociological theories. Whereas when you talk about Buddhism as spirituality, it is the individual. It is you facing what is your quest, in other words. So religion and spirituality is more sort of a psychology of Buddhism, if you like. I'm using this word psychology in a free sense, meaning it has to do with the mind. Okay? Now, I often use lots of modern terms, psychology, pre-conscious, unconscious, subconscious, conscious, and so on. Those of you who are familiar with psychology will say, oh, that's familiar, you know, it is psychodynamic and so on and so forth. But I think we should bear in mind that all these terms are used to describe, to refer to Buddhist categories, Buddhist terms. So whatever similarities are purely coincidental. So we should not, in other words, superimpose outside categories onto Buddhism. And then it'll be easier to understand the writings that are done. Because it's very difficult to express some of these ancient wisdom if we do not have the modern words for them. So we need to use those terms. But they have an ancient meaning that go back long, long centuries before modern psychology. So to be fair to history, we should take these terms in a Buddhist sense, in other words. So faith is the beginning of true religion, if you like, of spirituality even. Faith is what draws us to Buddhism, to the Dharma, if you like. Faith is a matter of the heart. I mean, people don't think and argue and say, okay, I want this religion. Okay, we don't do that. But you have a feeling for it. You feel, oh, this is peaceful. Usually you feel peaceful. Or you find it has answered some of your troubling questions and you feel good about it. You feel faithful. So faith, some people translate faith as confidence, but confidence seems to lack that color and warmth of faith, even the power of faith, if you like. Whereas if you say faith, you have this sense of depth and personal experience. So it has got to do with the heart, in other words. It's how you feel. And in Asian philosophy, heart and head kind of go together. You have the same word for it. And that also is helpful when we understand the nature of faith in Buddhism. You've got to feel for it. You feel like doing good. Metta is like that. It's a feeling, loving kindness. If you plan to do good, that is politics. So it's something else. So this feeling is a very important thing. And also in early Buddhism, the word feeling, to feel, pati sanve deti, is a very important verb. Short of the term bodheti, meaning to awaken, I would say the second most important Pali verb would be pati sangvedeti. Because it is this pati sangvedeti, to be able to feel, is what brings you towards the path, that keeps you on the path to awakening. Direct experience, in other words. So when you have a direct experience, you must have faith. Faith helps you to focus. Okay? So here the sutta talks about 5 benefits of the faithful, or 5 benefits of being faithful, if you like. And the translation is on page 103. The 5-factor discourse on the faithful. You can also retranslate as the discourse on the 5 factors of the faithful. It's also possible. This is the thing about Pali. You find in Pali we just say Panchangika Sutta, but you can interpret different ways. So this is the polysemy of Pali, which is lacking in English. We tend to pride in the fact or in the idea, in the hope that English as a modern language is very accurate, but there is a cost when a language is too accurate. In a sense, Chinese is very accurate too. You have these pictographs that, kind of fix ideas into a picture, into a little square or something. But once you do that, then you begin to fix all these ideas. It's like Lego pieces, but with very few. Not all 4 sides can be joined up. When it's at one side only, maybe it can be joined up. So that's going to be very, very handicapped. So whereas Pali is very versatile in that sense. It's not amorphous. It's just that there is a discipline there. In other words, the way Pali is read is it depends on your experience. The more experienced you are, the better you understand the flow of the meaning that's recorded in the Pali text. It took me many decades for me to understand that. So you find even today, sometimes certain monks may say, this Pali word doesn't mean this, this word vijnana or samadhi means something else. That's fine, if you want to say that, but the point is, number one, a word can mean anything to anyone, the Humpty Dumpty rule. But we must always remember polysemy of Pali, that even the words like samadhi, word like vijnana, they cover a range of meanings, always a range of meanings, not just one word. You cannot simply translate vijnana as consciousness, say that's it. You cannot simply translate samadhi as concentration, that's it. It's not like that. Even if we do use such words, you must also tell your students, when you write your books, you have to say, okay, there are other senses too. There are other aspects of this word. And that's very helpful, the idea of the openness of words. So you're not caught up with words, in other words. They become your tools and they help you to open up your mind and understand things better. It's like music, where you interpret that phrase in a way. It's not fixed. That's why people keep listening to classical music, because there is no fixed way of interpreting this piece. You can do that. You can get a robot to play a classical piece, We are always waiting for this brilliant interpreter of Mozart or Chopin or Wagner or somebody. So it's how they play the piece that you begin to feel, wow, this is beautiful, right? So you find it's not easy to play Chopin. He's got all these ritardinos and strange combination of notes, He even joins the Scotland notes and you play them together, 2 keys side by side, and he produced music. He could do that, You get that sort of thing in Pali. The beauty of words. A lot of people don't see this. They think, wow, Sanskrit is great. But Pali has got the beauty of music in the spiritual sense. So all this has got to do with faith, of course. So let's look at the sutta here. The benefits for one with faith. Verse 1, which shows there are these 5 benefits for a son of family who is faithful or who has faith. Notice son of family, meaning you're talking about a lay person. Basically, son of family means well-behaved, morally virtuous. And what are the five? Because when the good, true individuals in the world show compassion, they would surely show compassion first to the faithful, not the unfaithful, not the faithless. Okay, let's look at this passage first. Here, the sutta doesn't say a monk or a nun, or even the Buddha. It says the good, true individuals. Okay, you have a note there, 16, right? Santo, Sapurisa, or I don't know whether it should be Santa or Sapurisa. Anyway, it means good. Santa or Santo, it's got two senses. It can mean holy or good or masculine even. It can mean peaceful. Here, you have two senses. Okay, the first is a very specific sense. Sapurisa refers to the saints, the four kinds of saints, and also can refer to any lay person or any non-saint who is morally virtuous, who knows the Dhamma, who teaches the Dhamma. So I often prefer to take such terms broadly so that we include more people, we empower them, we inspire them to study, practice and teach the Dhamma. So I would say quite generously, the term the good, true individual, Santo Purisa, or Santa Purisa, refers to a monk, a nun, layman, laywoman, who practices the Dhamma, who may or may not attain some levels of sainthood, but they are very serious about the teaching, and they practice it, and they teach it to others. So if there's such a person, then who would he be kind to? Who would he show compassion to? Of course, he would first go to those who have faith. In other words, he would teach them first. He would be friends with them. He would kind of be close to them, communicate with them. So that's quite natural. So this is the advantage of spiritual friendship, advantage of having someone who is helpful and compassionate and kind to you. You know, we go to all kinds, in society we mix with all kinds of people, and now we can even mix with people from all kinds of religions. And often this kind of mixing is a measure of wealth and affluence. You have the money, you have the time, so you have this spare time, so you go to different religions. So the more money you have, the more religions you join. The better people know about you, for example. But ultimately, when you need help, who is the one who can really help you? Or on the best level to answer is, how do you help yourself? Which of these religions teaches you to help yourself, to look within, and not to find your answers outside of you, which are not the true answers. So this idea of faith here is a kind of feeling that I can do it. I have faith in myself. So the Dhamma teaches that kind of faith, that you are inwardly good, that you can change yourself, and in doing so you can inspire others to do the same. This is where I often like to communicate with God believers. Where there's this saying, the kingdom of God is within you. Something like that. They got various translations. Or if you like, godliness is within you. You can say that's the essence of Buddhism to other religions, or to those who believe in God. Okay? It means you don't look outside of you for this idea of what God is. Not who God is, but what God is. Now, once you say what God is, you can only answer in one way: godliness. So it's not a thing. It's a quality. And this is what the Buddha did. This is nothing new. It's not new theology. Even in Buddha's time, those people believe in Brahma, this great creator God. The Buddha said, well, okay, what qualities has Brahma? Okay, he has loving kindness, he has compassion, he has joy and equanimity. you can also cultivate those qualities, so you don't need him up there. And the interesting thing is Brahma himself agrees with this. Brahma became a Buddhist. So there you are. This compassion towards others means you tell them this thing, you can help yourself. You don't have to come to me, you don't even have to follow me. You can do it yourself. And this is the beauty and the greatness and the truth of early Buddhism. Number two, when approaching, they would surely first approach the faithful, not the faithless. This word may seem simple, approach, no? Go up to. In fact, the Pali word upasaka or upasika is the layman, upasika is the women. Literally it means those who move up close, those who are up close to the teacher, of course, or generally to the Buddha. So sitting up close to the teacher is a very significant thing. In other words, especially in those days, where there are no PA systems, so you want to listen very carefully. You sit at the back, you're more likely to be distracted by other people and so on. So sitting up close, approaching, means a sense of readiness, a desire, a kind of a sense of being drawn to what is good. To see a similar goodness in others, and you're attracted to that similarity. And this is what keeps people really close together, keep them together in this life and many lives to come. As we say, it's a very popular word in Myanmar, we say, Yawa Nibbana, until such time we reach Nibbana. That is, Buddhists will say forever, okay? Yawa Nibbana, yeah? Because beyond Nirvana, there's no more forever. Nirvana itself is in sense forever. So, approach here for what? Well, you can approach here for giving, for receiving. Approach here for learning the Dharma, for teaching, for friendship. Okay? So this is the idea of approaching. And then number three, when receiving gifts. Okay, here gift is put into as an amplification to the Pali simply says receiving. So there you are. Here you see in Pali receiving. In Pali, when you say receiving, is always receiving something, right? But in English, you have to put in the object. It is transitive, no? So when receiving gifts, they would surely receive from the faithful, not the faithless, right? So here you are. If you are Buddhist, you are practicing Buddhist, you happily accept gifts from other Buddhists. It's a joy to give, a joy to receive. In my life as a teacher, even as a layman, I've been privileged a couple of times being offered a place to teach meditation and Buddhism by non-Buddhists. At least one group of Catholics have approached me. They said, I have this place, somewhere. Unfortunately, it's quite far away from Jurong. So you can use this place freely. Maybe you can teach us meditation also. I told myself, wow, this is quite difficult for me. They're not Buddhists, and they want to do all these things. So I said, I don't mind teaching meditation, but it's quite difficult for me to use a place, especially when it's sponsored by a non-Buddhist. I mean, I didn't say that exactly, but what I mean is I didn't take up that offer, basically. But the fact that they are so generous in offering, it means they are attracted to Buddhism. What I'm curious about is, why don't they call themselves Buddhists? Why do they still retain their old religion and have this interest in Buddhism? Anyway, so we do keep in touch, but that's as far as I will go. Of course, when I was living in Holland for a while as a monk during the rains retreat there, I remember one day accompanying the monk there. We were staying in the south of the country, in the province of North Brabant, in a little village called Waalwijk. So we traveled north to Amsterdam. And there we went to this very old church. It's called Moses and Aaron Kerk, Moses and Aaron Church. It's a very old church. In fact, they don't use it anymore. And so we use it for meditation. So I was kind of really felt quite happy and amused. Wow, here we are learning meditation in this old church which was making so much religious noise during the Renaissance, during the medieval period, Renaissance. Holland has always been a place of great learning and interest, and the greatest scholars come from there. And so that was some happy memories. Okay? So this is where we receive people in this holy place. Now holy to the Buddhists who sit peacefully, close their eyes, and see the Buddha. So in that sense, it doesn't really matter where we are, because the real seeing of the Buddha is not the picture or the image out there. It's to close your eyes and see the beautiful light inside your mind, the light that doesn't blind you, the light that shows you the way. So this is what's meant by faith. Then number 4, when teaching Dharma, they would surely teach Dharma to the faithful, not to the faithless. Okay? Here, in other words, we celebrate the Buddha's teaching. Now, it's very difficult to teach someone without faith the Dharma. They may start arguing, and then you find the message get lost. Right? It's different from questioning. But if we argue, then we lose the whole idea of learning. So the readiness to learn the Dharma is very important. See? That is why we are gathered here, because we love the suttas and we know, wow, there's something precious here, and we like to go straight into the original text. And that's also the same reason why I set up the early Buddhism page on Facebook. It's a wild marketplace out there, social media. So it's a new style of work, something we need to experiment, and the Buddhists have always been very courageous, interpret in going to new places. I don't think Buddhists have not been to any place in the whole earth. They all somehow have been there. So here, cyberspace seems to be the final frontier. But it's a very wild place. You get all kinds of people there, from really mad to very sane. So you have to deal with all of them. Then I realized that, wow, the Buddha is so wise. You need sila on Facebook. You must have moral virtue. You must have precepts. You must have rules. Okay. So I always remind us, okay, please treat this Facebook page like my home, okay? So you're coming to my home, you're welcome to discuss only early Buddhism. There's so many other groups. You can join those groups if you want to discuss other things. But here only early Buddhism. And please only share early Buddhism. Don't bring in pictures of your visit to Genting Highlands or to some casino. We're not interested in that. Maybe you tell us a bit about your meditation. Yeah, that'd be fun, you know. Or show some old pictures of venerable monks who have been really very wonderful people. That'd be great. So you really benefit, you know, from the countless Buddhists all over the world, from your own comfort and safety of your own home. On Facebook and other social media can help you if you are disciplined, if you apply sila, moral virtue, onto the using of this Facebook. And a lot of people are inspired. In fact, for many of them, their practice flows through this interesting worldly media to Canada, South America, to Lebanon, to Africa. Now we're getting people from practically all over the remote corners of the world on our Facebook. So the Dhamma, like the Buddhist time, is now reaching out to others in a holographic form, if you like. So it's amazing, isn't it? So there you are. You have giving and receiving, and teaching and learning, right? And then the last one, number 5. When the body has broken up after death, the faithful is reborn in a happy destination in heaven. Okay? So this is a personal benefit. Notice the others are all kind of related to someone else. So here, if you are faithful, in other words, you have faith in the three jewels, you understand them, and because you understand the three jewels, you fully embrace them, you're happy with them, then the least is you'll be reborn in a happy state. Alright, so the teaching kind of ends there, and then you have the verses, a bit of teaching in the closing verses. Section 3, okay? We are on page 103. Section 3. Bhikshus, just as in some pleasant place where four highways meet, a great banyan tree is a refuge for winged creatures all around. Even so, bhikshus, the son of a family with faith, is a refuge for many people, for monks, for nuns, for laymen, for laywomen. It is a beautiful figure, analogy. So here, crossroad is a junction. People change directions there, people meet there. There is often a marketplace there. Marketplaces, these nigamas usually arise from such places where people meet, travelers stop for a while, they need food, refreshments, and lodging, and so on. But here you have this huge banyan tree, and banyan tree, as you know, has got a lot of shade. And here, lots of birds and creatures live there. So this is a figure of refuge, of comfort. And notice here, the sutta says, a son of family with faith. So it's talking about a lay person here, not a monk or a nun. And notice this lay person can be a refuge for monks, nuns, laymen and laywomen. So here is one sutta where we can say the Buddha kind of endorses lay people getting involved in the spiritual life, in the Dharma. Of course, the role that this lay person plays can vary. He can be either a learner or a teacher. He can be a giver or a receiver. And so he can be a full-time lay Dharma teacher, or he can be a full-time lay practitioner, or he can be someone who serves the monks and the Sangha. And then the sutta closes with verses, kind of by way of summary, the verses on the faithful. Branches rich with leaves and fruits, a mighty tree with a great trunk, with roots endowed, laden with fruit, where the winged roost. Right, so this is an imagery of a tree that not only gives comfort, protection, but also provides food, okay, and quenches our thirst. The next verse, 5. The realm that delights the heart, the sky-goers resort there. The sky-goers are the birds. Seeking shade, they go for shade. Seeking fruits, they enjoy the fruits. Right here again you see this very idyllic kind of very happy state where beings are satisfied in their needs. So that's the analogy. Then you have even so, the application. Even so is one that accomplishes in moral virtue, an individual who is faithful, humble by nature, not self-centered, meek, congenial, soft-spoken, mild. Right, so this is the typical Dhamma teacher, Dhamma practitioner. Should be very gentle and kind, non-violent in other words. Rid of lust, rid of hate, rid of delusion, influx free. But these two lines already define Arahat, isn't it? A field of merit in the world. They associate with such a man. So here, of course, this verse goes beyond the sutta. Here is where the Buddha says that an Arahat will look for the faithful too. That's another benefit. To him, they teach the Dhamma. Him here, of course, is the person with faith. That dispels all suffering. Right? So the teaching, faith, the teaching, freedom from suffering. That dispels all suffering, who here, having known that Dharma, is totally cooled, influx free. So the listener, the one with faith, also becomes liberated. So the sutta ends there. So this is a sutta about being faithful, being inspired with the understanding of the Dharma. Next year is coming, so let me wish everyone a very happy New Year and blessings of the three jewels to you all. And then we meet again, the New Year of the dog, with a loud bark. Okay. All right. Let us close with a short reflection. The lunar year is coming to an end, and for us it's a year of joy and triumph in a sense. We have diligently come for sutta study. We have kept the study going, and this is a very important way that we build up our wisdom over time. Wisdom is something that grows. Maybe it's just knowledge that we get at this time, but then as we see the reality of this knowledge outside of us, and then we see it within us, it becomes wisdom. And from there we know better what to do. Our hearts are clear. Even though we may not be able to remember the words, the exact words of the sutta, we are guided by its spirit. And that's the way it works. The Buddha's teaching is always there with us. Of course, if you're a teacher, then you also need to remember the words as well as the spirit. It helps when you teach. But it's a choice we all make. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. By the power of this karma, may we reflect to it, may we generate loving kindness towards ourselves, that we are blessed with good health, strength, wisdom and courage to aspire to attain at least extreme winning in this life itself. By the same token, especially in the spirit of this coming New Year, let us send out all our good wishes, our loving kindness to all our loved ones. May they be well and happy. To all those who have been kind and supportive of us, may they prosper with good health and other material ways too. And to those who are seeking the truth or practicing or teaching the Dharma, may they too see the true teaching in this life itself. And finally, for those who are struggling with difficulties, who are lost, may they too, by the power of the three jewels, find their way to the true path in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.